Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason, speaking to you here in my basement in the great state of Kansas. And today's video, I'm continuing my look at my physical media, my Blu Rays and DVDs that I own. And I'm going to be covering alphabetically N through R. So please enjoy this and see what I got here on Jason the Old Millennial. I hope everybody's doing well here on a Wednesday night, and I'm back to talk about some of my favorite Blu-rays and DVDs, ones that I own here. Again, covering N through R, so got quite a bit to cover here. Probably this, and then probably one more video, and I'll be through all the Blu-rays and DVDs I have on my shelves, all the movies. I have some other documentaries and TV, really only one TV show, Seinfeld. I do have those. I don't know if I'll show those at some point, but these are the movies I own. We'll start with one of my favorite Christmas movies, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I put it on there N because of National Lampoon. This is the DVD. I couldn't find a Blu-ray for it for the moment, so I just stuck with the DVD. But yeah, one in my top probably 5 favorite, maybe at least top 10, but probably top 5 favorite Christmas movie. I like to watch every Christmas time. Absolutely hilarious with Chevy Chase, and you know, I got Randy Quaid is so great as Cousin Eddie, who's from Kansas, my neck of the woods, but we're not all like Cousin Eddie here. But yeah, real fun movie about the dysfunctionality of family getting together and everything going wrong, as you can expect of these kind of movies. But yeah, very funny, but yeah, very heartfelt at the same time. And I really like Clark Griswold as a character. And Chevy Chase, I think his best role, in my opinion. This also, I should say, has a really great audio commentary on here with almost everybody from the movies, like comes back and does audio commentary, which was real fun. But yeah, definitely great. That's only N. I'm going to the O's, and I got the movie Once, kind of a modern day musical as they call it. And it's the duo here, Glenn Hansard and Marketa Glova. Glenn from Ireland, Marketa's from Czech Republic, and they've come together to be one of my favorite duos, even though they only made 2 albums together, The Swell Season and Strict Joy, which Strict Joy is an album I gave to Adam from What the Gym, and he says he's enjoying that album. One of my favorites, and Swell Season's also one of my favorites. The soundtrack to this movie is also just killer. But yeah, it's a really cool movie. Kind of an indie movie. Came out like in the I want to say somewhere in the 2000s. It's really a simple story of the guy from Ireland, a guy from Ireland who's busks, on the streets of Ireland for, makes, a little cash doing that. And he meets a girl from Czech Republic, and she plays piano, and they get together, and they end up making some songs together and recording them. And they kind of fall in love, but it's not exactly a love story, but kind of is. It's difficult to explain, but it's a nice story, and the music is just so great. What makes this movie so good is the music. If you like more folk indie music, it's absolutely fantastic. Next, I got one of my favorite comedies called The Out-of-Towners, with one of my favorite actors of all time, Jack Lemmon, and then you also got Sandy Dennis there. It's mainly those two. They're in New York from Ohio. He's going for a job interview, and everything goes wrong. Anything that can go wrong goes wrong on the trip, and they don't get to their hotel, and they have to sleep outside. They get mugged or something like that. They miss the train. And Jack Lemmon's one of his best comedic performances, and Jack Lemmon's probably the funniest actor ever. Came out, I think, in the 60s, late 60s maybe. Anyways, but yeah, just a great comedy, Out-of-Towners. Then we got one of my favorite, actually, animated movies that no one really talks about from DreamWorks called Over the Hedge. Really fun, animation movie. It's not a big one compared to like Shreks and How to Train Your Dragons and the Kung Fu Pandas, which are also really great. But yeah, this is a great one-off movie. I think Bruce Willis is the main character. Gary Shandling is the turtle, I believe. Is it Gary Shandling? I can't remember. But anyways, somebody. Let me see. I don't see the cast there, but anyways, but yeah, great cast work. Steve Carell is the squirrel. Yeah, couldn't find the Blu-ray, just got the DVD, but yeah, real fun animated comedy. And it came out like around the time of some other great anime movies. I have to look it up, but it was a great year for animation. Next, I got Patriots Day, starring Mark Wahlberg there. And it's a true, of course, based on a true story of the Boston Marathon bombing that happened. I don't know, when did that happen? Like 10 years ago or something. Huge deal, two terrorists with explosives set their backpacks down, and at the end of the Boston Marathon, and it kills 10 or 11 people, including a kid. And it's really sad. And then there was this crazy manhunt for one of them, and they eventually found him, and he's in jail. The other one died. And so it kind of goes through all that. It's a very good thriller. I mean, it's on the edge of your seat, like your heart pounding type thriller when they're looking for this guy. And it's also very sad. I mean, I cry my eyes out every time I watch the movie. Mark Wahlberg gives his best performance I think he's ever given. I think should have been like an Oscar nominee. I thought he was really good, but it's a really cool story. It's a true story. And of course, I remember the time, so it's very emotional, but very well done. Peter Berg is the director, very good. All right, next movie. I mean, everybody knows this movie, an absolute classic. My favorite Alfred Hitchcock movie, Psycho. There's a DVD. As you know, Norman Bates Motel. He's a kind of cross-dresser and multiple personalities, and is just a crazy person who kills people that comes to his motel. And yeah, if you haven't seen it, you gotta see Psycho. Back in 1960, I mean, it was way ahead of its time, talking about really mature subject matters that they didn't talk about back in 1960. Anyways, yeah, just for its time, really great. I don't know, I call it thriller. I don't know if some might call it a horror movie. But yeah, that shower scene still works today. It's still a I don't know, heart-pounding scene when I'm spoiling the movie, but or if you know anything about Psycho, Janet Leigh gets stabbed in the shower, and yeah, it's a great edited scene. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's scary, but it's a really cool scene. Next, I got another absolute classic from the 60s, Planet of the Apes, kind of a sci-fi classic with Charlton Heston, about, a world that's run by apes, and humans don't talk, and they're kind of dumb animals, and the apes are the smart ones that run everything, and Charlton Heston's thinks he's on a different planet and from Earth. He's like an astronaut kind of guy. And so he's trying to prove that humans are actually used to exist on this world as smart human beings and stuff. And, but yeah, just a fun sci-fi movie. Charlton Heston absolutely nails it. What's the word? Just kicks it out of the park, because I don't know if that's a word, but so many great lines, you blew it up, and this is a madhouse. Get your damn dirty paws off me, or you darn dirty ape, or whatever. So many great lines. Real fun movie. Next, I got one of my favorite Jackie Chan movies, Police Story. Probably my favorite Jackie Chan movie. Yeah, you can see there. Big fan of Jackie Chan, been since I was a kid. This one's so great. As a police officer, and trying to protect a woman, kind of witness protection, basically from a mob, and there's trying to take down this like drug dealer, and there's this great action sequence in a mall where they're just smashing through glass all over the place. One of the best action sequences ever made, I think. And Jackie Chan, just great performance. He actually gets dramatic moments and very comedic moments all in this action-packed movie anyway. So go from another one of my favorite Jackie Chan movies, actually, Project A. I think if you watch any Jackie Chan movies, man, watch Police Story and Project A are two of my favorites of his. I only got DVDs. I don't know if they have Blu-rays. I'd love to get these on Blu-rays as well. But yeah, another fun one. You got Sammo Hung here. Um, there's another actor that there's this trio of actors that Jackie Chan, Sammy Hung, and another one that work together. And they work together so well, and they really do a good job, like I said, combining action with comedy. And I love the combination of action comedy. And this is somewhat of a period piece back in like the Victorian. It's in China, but it's almost like Victorian England days in China, and dealing with piracy and corrupt government. And he's like a police officer. But yeah, it's got a lot of Buster Keaton type action sequences in it. Very well done movie, real fun movie. I think even if you're not an action fan, you can enjoy the movie because it got a lot of comedy and mixed in it. And just watching Jackie Chan do those stunts are just so fun because he does his own stunts and they're just like he's risking his life all the time. Go from that from actually another martial arts action movie. This one called The Protector with Tony Jaa, who's kind of emerged in the 2000s. He's a Thai boxing type martial arts from Thailand. He's a stunt guy who then got his own movie. This is the second movie that he made with the same director. And this says Quentin Tarantino presents Tony Jaa. So Quentin Tarantino is, of course, a big fan of his. And he's been in movies here and there, but none has been as good as like his first two movies have been his biggest one, which I'm forgetting the name of the first one. I'm forgetting. It's not nearly as good as this one, but he's basically from Thailand. It's kind of a weird storyline of his dad and him. They raise elephants. Elephants are like a big deal in Thailand, and so they raise elephants and they present them to nobility or something. And his elephant gets kidnapped or gets stolen and goes to Australia to be put on like a black market, selling on the black market. So he goes to Australia to find it. It's all about finding his elephant, anyways. And but some amazing action sequences in here. My favorite is he has an action sequence in this like Buddhist temple, and it's flooded, so it's got water in it. And he's fighting this guy who's from like Jamaica, who's a cabaret fighter, anyways. And it's one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen. But yeah, of course, that's for anybody that loves action movies or kung fu movies. It's a great one. And then I go to one of my favorite movies in 2000s, I want to say, called Radio. It's one that it's somewhat divisive, I guess. I love this movie. A lot of people don't like it as much because it's a little hokey at times, I think. But I love Cuba Gooding Jr., Ed Harris here, two of the great actors. Based on a true story of a guy who has mental problems, who gets bullied by football players, but the coach feels kind of sympathy for him and has him help out the team during practice and stuff. And they form this kind of father-son relationship, and he really helps him out anyways. And even though he's mentally, has problems, he's really a nice, kind person. And of course, he really learned to love this character, and he really kind of starts opening up more. And it's just a really good feel-good movie, I guess. It's a comedy, it's a drama. Ultimately, it's a good feel-good movie for me. Now I'm gonna go two movies that are another really. I got a lot of action movies in this series here. We got The Raid Redemption, and this is Iko Was, I think his name is. He's from Singapore, and so this is martial arts action movie, but it's a kind of martial arts called Salat, which is the type of martial arts they do in Singapore. I believe it's Singapore or Indonesia. It's one of those. It's out there. It might be Indonesia I'm thinking of. But yeah, really great. I mean, intense action, really violent, maybe a little too violent, but the action is so good. There's a great 2-on-1 fight scene at the end, as you can see right here in this picture. This guy, they call him the Mad Dog, I believe. He is awesome. Like he looks like he's probably only 5'4", but he looks like he can beat anybody up because he's so quick. And then I got Raid 2, sequel to Raid Redemption. This is probably my favorite martial arts action movie of all time. Again, the fight scenes are just out of this world. It's one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen in my life. Is the main character Iko Was and this guy, the assassin. They fight in a kitchen, and it gets very bloody. Knives come out, lots of blood everywhere. But it is the best like choreographed one-on-one fight scene I've ever seen, and it just floored me the first time I watched it. I had to rewind it and watch it again and again, and it's one of my favorites to watch. But yeah, just really wonderfully done. I mean, just really shot very well. Everything about it is just done very well. Action-wise, there's some others. I like this one because the first one's all takes place in one building. The second movie, they changed locations. There's like a really cool kind of car chase scene where he's fighting guys in the car, and the camera's going in and out of the cars. I mean, it's really amazingly shot for an action movie. And yeah, like I said, the choreography is just out of this world good. Next, I got Rain Man, Best Picture, I think of 88, 89. Drama comedy, I guess say, with Dustin Hoffman and Tom Cruise there. Dustin Hoffman playing Raymond, who's autistic, and Tom Cruise is his brother Tom Cruise never knew he had an older brother. Their dad dies, and so he's trying to get some of the money from his dad, who didn't give him money in the will. And so he kind of kidnaps his brother to try to get the money. But then he finds that he kind of loves his brother, and there's a good emotional connection with his brother. One of the best performances I've ever seen. Dustin Hoffman as Raymond, as this very autistic, individual, and he does such a good job portraying that, I think, in the movie. And yeah, a really well acted movie. Next, I got a good action comedy called Red, with Bruce Willis. You see, you got John Malkovich, Morgan Freeman, Helen Mirren. Really great cast. It's like the idea is like these retired CIA agents who are still very deadly, but someone's trying to murder them, so they're trying to find out why they're being targeted. And the CIA, in fact, is like targeting them, so they're trying to figure out why the CIA is going after them. And this whole kind of thing, this whole, I say conspiracy, not conspiracy, but whole plot against them. And but the action is like really well done, and it's real fun too. Bruce Willis, kind of the main lead, and he also has like a romantic interest that comes along on the ride, who doesn't realize he's a ex-CIA guy. But yeah, I just love the way they did the action. It's a little over the top, but really well done, real fun kind of movie. And it's kind of fun seeing old people just kick butt like that. Next, I got this is another Kung Fu movie, a martial arts movie I got. The Return of the Deadly Venoms, which I feel like I've talked about this movie maybe before. It's my favorite of this group. This group did like 7 movies together. It's the same like 6 actors and the same director, and they made like 6 or 7 movies together. Starting with the 5 Deadly Venoms. This is actually, it's called 5 Deadly Venoms, aka Cripple Avengers. It was really called Cripple Avengers, but they used the Return of the 5 Deadly Venoms to play off of the really popular movie 5 Deadly Venoms, so people would buy it because they're like, oh, is this a sequel to 5 Deadly Venoms? It's not a sequel. It has nothing to do with that movie. It's just the same actors and same director as that. Cheng Che is the director here. But yeah, absolutely amazing. Again, choreography, lots of sword fighting scenes, and staffs and spears, and but yeah, just incredibly well done. These actors are just some of the best trained martial artists on film. So it's one I love. It's just a fun, kind of stupid action movie, but I love it. Then I got one of the great movies of all time, Rocky, at the Blu-ray there. I just have Rocky. The other Rocky movies are fine, but none of them compared to this one. Of course, the Best Picture in 76. And it's just a great, underdog story. Sylvester Stallone wrote it, stars in it. And it's just a great character. I absolutely love the Rocky character. And I love the love story between Rocky and Adrian, and I also love Burgess Meredith. Gives such a great performance as Mickey, the disheveled, boxing instructor, manager, whatever. But yeah, just a great underdog comeback story. Great characters. Absolutely love it. My favorite Western, John Wayne Western movie, The Searchers, directed by John Ford, starring John Wayne here. Yeah, absolutely amazing movie. Where his family gets killed by by the Indians, and he has a niece that gets kidnapped, and it's all about him trying to find his niece, who's living with the Indians now. And yeah, just a really good Western movie. John Wayne gives absolutely amazing performance, has some really heartbreaking scenes in it that really gets me, and it's a bit of a thriller at times, and it's a, they're on the search, so it's constantly, and it's just a great character. You just love this character. Ethan is very, he's not a morally good person necessarily, but you do feel for the guy, and he is trying to do good things anyway. So it's a very kind of, gray character that's very interesting. Next, I got a movie called Sergeant York. My favorite war movie, maybe, modern war movie. It's a World War I movie. It's based off a true story of Alvin York, who became a World War I hero, captured like 100 soldiers during World War I. He was a conscientious objector. He didn't believe in going to war, and he was very religious and was against killing, so he's against going to war, but he was drafted, he couldn't get out of it, so he went, and he ended up becoming a hero. It's a really great story. Gary Cooper wins the Best Actor. This came out in 41. But yeah, Best Actor for him. But great cast, really, for that time period anyways. And Howard Hawks is director. But yeah, really good movie about why, you don't want to go to war, you don't want to kill, but how sometimes it's somewhat necessary to save lives. And but it's also a good movie for, as me as a Christian, it deals with Christianity, and he converts to Christianity during the movie. It's a really good scene, really emotional, and kind of the ideas of, is it right, as a Christian to go to war and all this stuff. So really excellent movie. Next, I got Sherlock Holmes, Game of Shadows. This is the second one. I love Robert Downey Jr. He was really hitting his prime here with Iron Man movies and the Sherlock Holmes. He's such a good actor, and he does comedy besides drama, and he actually does a little bit of action here, which is really good. Action is really well done. This is I think, a Guy Ritchie movie back in 2011. You got Jude Law also in here. I don't like the first one as much, so I don't have the first one. I just have this one, but I think this is a much better movie than the first one. But yeah, really well done. Kind of action, comedy, mystery, thriller kind of. Next, I got No Way Home, Spider-Man No Way Home. Came out last year. Of course, I've talked about this movie quite a bit. One of my favorite Marvel movies of all time. I don't have it in MCU just because I feel like MCU kind of ends with Endgame. And Spider-Man, I guess, No Way Home kind of comes right after Endgame. So I kind of put this as a separate than the MCU as his own movie. But, I mean, absolutely amazing. The best Spider-Man movie ever made. Loved the idea of the multiverse and the different Spider-Mans coming together. It was so fun. It's such a great idea. Action is absolutely fantastic. And it's one of the most emotional Marvel movies I've ever watched. That makes me cry every time I watch it. So I love that about it. That not honestly great. It's a great story, great action. Love all the different characters from different movies. I mean, it's just a unique story and unique way of telling it that we haven't seen before. And I love that, more original ideas like that in Marvel and superheroes. Next, I got kind of an underrated movie called Source Code with Jake Gyllenhaal, Michelle Monaghan, Vera Farmiga. It's a cool sci-fi story, kind of mystery movie where a guy is kind of, I can't explain it. I don't have time to explain it, but just say it's a cool sci-fi movie where a guy has to kind of live the same day over and over again, basically. It's kind of like that. And he's trying to find a bomber who bombs he's on a train, and he's trying to find this guy who bombs the train. And so each time the bomb goes off, he has to repeat the whole day basically on the train. And so each day he's trying to find more clues and clues on who the killer is. Anyway, so really cool movie. Next I got Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home. My favorite of the original Star Trek series, directed by Leonard Nimoy. Yeah, to me, it's the most comical of the movies, the original 6. Yeah, I like the humor in it quite a lot, and the idea of time travel and fish out of water kind of story. But yeah, just a really well-told story for Star Trek. And then I got Star Trek First Contact, my favorite of the Next Generation cast. One of probably the best made, I think, as far as makeup and production design and cinematography is just really good in this movie. Just really well done. And it's got the Borg, which is like one of the best villains ever in Star Trek history. Yeah, really well. Get some good action sequences in there. Then what can I say? I'd have Star Wars. This has all three of the original Star Wars, 4, 5, and 6. I usually like to buy them individually, but at this point I was like, I guess I'll just get all three in one Blu-ray set. I mean, one of the greatest sci-fi movies of all time, a childhood favorite. What can I say? It's a must. Next I got Super 8. Another cool sci-fi. It's J.J. Abrams' second movie he made after he made Mission Impossible 3. Really cool sci-fi movie dealing with like an alien that's in this little town, and these kids are shooting a movie, and it deals with trauma and dealing with this monster alien thing, you know, killing people in this town and trying to figure out what it wants and what it's doing, and then and they are shooting their own like homemade movie at the same time. And so yeah, very kind of good thrills. It's kind of scary at times. I think really well done by J.J. Abrams, and before he started making, you know, Star Trek and Star Wars, and he was definitely, I think, a really good director. And then I'm going to end it with probably my favorite Disney live action movie, and that's Swiss Family Robinson. This is a kid favorite of mine, going back to, I think, maybe early 70s, early 60s. Classic story of family, the Robinsons, on an island by themselves and find ways to survive, and they're attacked by pirates at the end. And it's just a really, really good family film with action and adventure in it, and just a cool idea of like, how do you survive on an island by yourself? And they make a tree house. And I love the pirate scene at the end. They have to make booby traps. Yeah, absolute fantastic movie anyways from Disney. So that is my in through S on here. And so thank you for watching this. Please reply what was your favorite movies out of this bunch. And I'd love to read the comments, and just thank you for liking this video. And thank you to all the subscribers for supporting the channel. I appreciate you all, and I hope you have a good day.